everybody, welcome back to another video. It's me Nosy and you're joining me for another movie review. Today's movie I'm going to be talking about is a fairly recent movie that I've finally purchased. I missed the opportunity to see this at cinema. So I managed to pick it up pretty darn cheap. So I thought, let's give it a whirl. Of course, I'm talking about Don't Breathe. Don't Breathe is directed by Fede Alvarez, produced by Sam Raimi, Robert Tappert, and of course Fede Alvarez, starring Jane Levy, Dylan Minetti, Daniel Lovato, Stephen Lang. Don't Breathe is telling a story about following three young kids that turn to crime. They break into sought after wealthy people's houses in order to try and portray some money, sell the goods, and so on. They pretty much have had enough of where they live, and they want to move away because their personal backgrounds. There's a lot of problem back there. Straight off the bat, the way this movie is done, you hate these young kids because they essentially are scum because they're breaking into people's houses in order to selfishly, in a selfish way, they're trying to, they're stealing from people in order to fuel their want to leave the city or leave where they live. The way that it's done is that you hate them from the get-go. You despise them straight away. But as the movie progresses, you start to you see a little bit of their personal backgrounds. You see the environments that they're being brought up in, and you kind of see the point that, the desperation that they did have. You can kind of see why they did what they did, even though it's unforgivable, but yet you can see, there's a good reason there, in a way, for them to do what they've done, even though you can't really forgive them for it. So the movie is about a blind, disabled individual, ex-military, and they scope out this guy's house, which is their next major target. He has a lot of money in his house. He was basically backhanded a lot of money from a rich woman, who sadly run over his daughter, killing her. And ever since then, he became a recluse. He became closed in. He is literally the only occupier of the house that is living down his Pacific Street. Everything else is derelict. So straight off the bat, you kind of get a feeling that you feel sorry for the guy because he's lost his daughter and he's blind. He's trying to get her. He's just to himself. But then the setting is that practically nobody will hear you scream. Practically is that kind of feeling that you get from it. Nobody will hear you scream because there's nobody around. As we progress, the three kids break into the house as they planned and try to find the money. And while they're doing so, one of them tries to knock him out with some knockout gas so that he won't, wake up while they're doing it. But this guy, something doesn't quite work. He doesn't get knocked out. He ends up waking up because he hears the commotion downstairs because they're rummaging around the house. He ends up waking up, going downstairs, and they all end up. What I love about this film is that what I love about it is that there's no soundtrack, there's no music soundtrack behind it. It's definitely quiet. All you hear is their footsteps, their movements, them pretty much trying to communicate in a way so that he can't hear them, and him rummaging around the house. There is no music in this movie except for the title sequence as it goes into the film, and obviously the credits at the end. You don't have that, build-up suspense music, and I'm very happy, and I think that's why I really enjoy this movie. Now, the first kid to die is the one that you hate the most because he practically is an arsehole. The other two aren't as bad as him, nowhere near, but this kid is an arsehole. He actually has a gun with him and so on, so that just says everything. So he's the first one to, you know, essentially the irony, or should I say karma, he gets shot with the gun that he brings. And in a very sick way, actually shoots him. He actually shoots him, think, up from here, out the back of the skull. So you actually see the blood splatter everywhere. It was a pretty interesting, quite a dark kill from the start go. So that then kicks off the tempo of shit. This is serious now. So then there's two guys and one lass that break in. One of the guys dies first off. Then it's a guy and a lass that kind of are left surviving, and the whole movie is them trying to be very quiet. So they're having to kind of creep. They're having to crawl. They're having to really try to be very, very quiet whenever he's around them. And that really does have an essence of, holy crap. And it does make you feel like, stay quiet. You're practically almost shouting at the TV. And then there's a scene that I just love so much. There is a scene where they go down to the basement. I believe it's the basement of the house, and they go down there to run away from him. He ends up going down there himself, and when they're down there, he turns the lights off. What I love about it is that the actors are generally in pitch black. They cannot see their hand in front of their faces. They used a type of infrared camera for this scene, and literally they can't see a damn thing, and you can tell they can't. The actors are practically panicking, legitimately panicking, and they're literally tapping, trying to navigate their way around using their other senses. But obviously, with him, the guy that's hunting them down, with him being blind, he can't see anything, day or night. So he is better at navigating in the darkness. There's also scenes where there's a young lass. She ends up going up into the air duct system, and he lets free his vicious dog in the air vent system. She's in this really confined space, panicking like hell, trying to get away, trying to get into another room, and then there's this vicious dog snarling and barking and running up to try and attack her. And they're really cool scenes. I love those scenes because, like I said, they physically are in these situations, and the actors, and you can definitely feel, you kind of start feeling for them because you kind of like, holy crap, the deliverance, the acting, everything was quite believable. If that makes any sense to you. All I'm going to say is I thought it was imaginative, very cleverly written. The acting was very, very good from the girl and one of the lads that survived. That's goes, that is pretty much trying to escape this guy. I think it's Stephen Yang who plays the blind guy. He is magnificent. He really does play a psychopathic killer really well. It's just an interesting twist, and having Sam Raimi on the writers' room for this movie, and a part of the three writers, as well as Freddy Alvarez, who directed the film, I think it goes hand in hand. His directory and his contribution to the writing works so well. It's beautifully shot, very intuitive and very cleverly done. Every scene and the way it's all done is really cleverly done, and stunningly visually. And the writing is very good because Sam Raimi, I think, does bring a good contribution. You can definitely feel his essence to the film. So, Don't Breathe, my verdict is it is a very decent film. It's done very, very well critically. You know, a lot of the major, quite a lot of critics that give films a kind of a bad time of things gave this movie a really good rating when it was released in cinemas. It is certainly worth a check out if you're a fan of dark thriller horror films. And if you're a fan of Sam Raimi and Fede Alvarez, if you're a fan of their previous works, this is a film that I really do say check out. So thank you very much for watching. Until next time, stay awesome, everybody, and I'll be back very soon with more videos in the next coming days, weeks, and months. So peace.